G'day everyone and welcome into the shed. Today I'm back on the Commodore and I'm going to call this episode Poo Happens, but first of all, very happy to say we've got Deb on camera, which is a bit unusual these days, so the quality of the film should be a little bit better than what I've been handing out lately with just my mobile phone and holding it out and trying to keep myself centered on it. So let's have a look at our Commodore mudguards and then we'll have a look at what went wrong over Easter where I was trying to get a bit of colour on the car. So what I've got up to, just grab a few bits and pieces. Because we put so much effort into making a really nice tailgate for this car, I believe I need to put the effort into getting these guards looking just as nice. So I'm trying to build in what Holden didn't do. And Holden gave us these little clip-in inserts that fitted into a hole in the panel. And having a line around it, I've always felt that looked like an afterthought. Well, it was an afterthought. So I'm trying to build a factory sporty mudguard. So I've made these two formers and they are to the shape of the outside of there, and I've changed my mind. Initially I wanted my own profile, so originally I shaped it down this line here, but I've gone off that idea. I've decided I really like what GMH did there. These panels are curved, put one inside, one outside, and then I've just got a sequence of holes to hold them in place, and then I've just worked this with the hammer and dolly and a couple of T-dollies and bits and pieces to get the shape into it. And then the little recess for the vent insert to clip into, I've made with this former here. Now, I'll be the first to admit I've probably got the cart before the horse a little bit on this. Somewhere that'll fit in there. It goes in like that. Now that's got a little bit bent because I've just pulled the tension down and I had to make a backing plate for that to get enough weight against it to actually indent this little recess in the panel all the way around. So if you can just grab a little close-up of that, Deb. So that little recess there is where the little insert clips into it. And I got a bit excited early on. When I sort of had my initial shape, I got in and got this all done. But since I've rearranged the shape of it, it doesn't fit that well anymore. So I've got to do a bit more work and a bit of remedial work to repair that. But no biggie. But I've added in the little supports in the back for these clips to push into, and they're going to be in the way of using this tooling. So it's going to have to purely be done with the hammer and dolly, or just with this piece sitting in there and working that as a dolly. But it will get there. But I'm very happy with the little roll-in profiles which match the plastic insert. Now there's also these recesses in here where this chrome bar fits into. So when we put it all together, that actually recesses in, and that looks very decorative with it actually sitting below the surface a little bit. So I've decided what I'm going to do there is just cut some bits of 1.6 sheet metal, because it's about the depth of that recess, and I'm going to position them and spot them to the panel, and then I'll use that as a dolly to work the other side of the panel to actually push the panel back next to those, and that should duplicate those two shapes. Fingers crossed. Never done it like this before, but it's worth a try. And that's the only way we learn, is by expanding our minds a little bit, thinking outside the box and just trying stuff. So, I've got the plain guard here for reference. Set all this stuff out of the way. That's all going to want to fall on the floor, I think. I think we'll put that over here. So once I've got the left-hand side sorted, what I'm going to do is reverse the curves on these so that I can use them on the right-hand side. And then same thing, I'll drill the holes through, cut a bit of an opening to allow the metal to stretch a bit, and then just start working the metal and stretching it to where I want it to get the shape of that little insert in there. So that's all doable, but we've got to finish the first one first. So for anyone that's not seen our tailgate videos, this is what we built. This is all on YouTube, so you can go back through the channel and find all of this. This was a damaged tailgate, and I have taken inspiration from the next generation Commodore in the sporty HSV version, and I have copied to a degree their design. So this was all plain metal. This line never existed in the panel. This number plate recess never existed, and this little plinth here for the GMH Lion never existed. So we've added all this in. There are YouTube videos on the step-by-step process of all this working. And this is pretty much steel, guys. There is only this smallest, skinniest skim of filler in a handful of places around it that make it work. And there's just a little bit around here, and there's a few little bruise marks down here, and where the panel had been damaged originally there's a little bit down there, but the rest of it is just steel as it came. So very happy with this. We've just got to make the rest of the car up to the same standard, and a few little sporty touches along the way to make it unique so that it all blends in. And that sort of themes the project. So if we sort of say we've done a little bit of a modernisation on it and we carry that through the rest of the car, that all works. Anyway, come and have a look at the rest of it and I'll tell you my woes. So I'd planned for Easter to actually get in and get a bit of colour, and I wanted the roof painted, the turret, and the door openings painted, and the insides of the doors themselves painted, get it all cleared and get the doors hung over the Easter window so I could be getting into the outside of it round about now. Had a little bit of blasting to do in this area here, and I was a bit worried I was going to blow a few holes in it, but it didn't. There's a few deep pits, but this is going to have a bead of urethane put through here to hold the glass in, so that'll just fill those in. I'm not worried about those at all, but the rust is gone, so that's the best thing. So the woe is the paint. Now, this is Glazerate paint. It's the best you can buy. It's been sitting in a tin for over 4 years, probably close to 5 years, and I went to stir it up. And whenever you get a tin of paint out that's been sitting for a while, all of the solids, the metallic, the pearl, will have settled in the bottom of it. So naturally, we had about 25 millimetres to an inch of just sparkly bits and pieces in the bottom of the tin. Started stirring it up, and straight away I could feel on the stirring stick the bottom of the tin was rough. And I think, oh yeah, it's just metallic down there. So I stirred and stirred and stirred and stirred and stirred, got it all cleaned up and stirred up into the mix, shot some paint on. And even though I'd strained it, I've still got little bits of contamination coming through. And there's just little tiny spots all over the whole lot, all the way through the paint. And if you run your hand over, you can just fit, they're everywhere. What had actually happened was, and it should be impossible, but it has happened, I've never come across it before. When the paint was put in the tin, there has been some moisture in there. For whatever reason, I don't know. The bottom of the tin has gone rusty. So when I have stirred up all the metallic component, it has picked up little flecks of rust. So all of these little bits of contamination in the paint are rust. They have gone through the strainer. If I go to a finer strainer, I'm going to pull the metallic content out of the paint. So poo happens. Everyone who has ever tackled a project in their life will at some stage have come across some insurmountable hurdle in their lives that has just really taken the shine off the project. Well, this is it. So I'm looking at this as a little bit of a silver lining. I like hothouse green. It's a unique colour. It's an era sort of specific colour to these cars, but it's a bit too light for me. I like darker colours, so I'm thinking a colour change is in its future. So I'm thinking we might buy some darker green paint and paint the car a dark green rather than a light green. And I've got one picked out in my mind, but we'll get to that later. So anyway, I'll grab the tin of paint and we'll give it a bit of a stir and I'll show you what I mean. So let's have 4 litres of contaminated 55 line Glazerate. So, but even now, if you just scrape the stirrer across the bottom, we can feel the roughness of the bottom of the tin. When we pick it up, that on the bottom, that's the metallic component of the paint. So whenever you stir a tin of paint up, you'll always get, at the start, this bit of metallic that sits in the bottom of the tin. Now, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I actually was stirring all this up. So in 2 weeks it's settled to there. Over 4 years, the line there was right up here. So if we touch the bottom of it, see there's the silvery content that gives it the metallic look, the pearl look to it. So when you're stirring paint, you really have to just keep stirring and lifting the paint. So if we look into the tin of the paint, you'll see by the way I'm stirring it, it is lifting the paint from the bottom to the top, and it's coming up in this area here. So that's paint coming from the bottom of the tin and it's circulating around, and you've got to get that wrist motion to do it. But it's important to keep turning the tin and scraping around the corners and across the bottom of the tin to make sure you're lifting all of that metallic component up. And if you check on the stick every so often, it's stirred in pretty well now, but you're still getting that little bit of a bump on the bottom where it'll have a richer, more metallic look to it.
Really hard to see on the camera.
Yeah, and but you keep stirring until all of the metallic is lifted into the paint. And even looking in the tin now, we can see it's sparkly and lovely and beautiful like that. Just the sad thing is it's contaminated with rust. So I'm not going to use this. And for a while, I put a bit of thought into how can I make this work. I've got this expensive paint sitting here, and I'm thinking if I really strain it hard, I'm going to change the colour, so it's not going to be the same colour anyway. And I thought, well, if I got the rust out of it, I could use it to base coat the other and get just another couple of litres of paint to go over the top. But then I run the risk of that rust being entrapped in the paint, and maybe 2, 3, 5, 6 years down the track, I've got little rust blisters appearing through my paint job, which I don't want either. So in the end, it came down to what would I do if this were a customer's car? And if it were a customer's car, I would sand the car back to primer. I would throw the tin of paint away and buy a new tin of paint. So that's what I'm going to apply to this project and fix it up. So there you go, guys. Poo happens to even the best of us. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I've done a bit in my time. And thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you next time.